Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into one of the most fascinating digital pileups on the entire internet. It's this massive, tangled web of confusion surrounding one seemingly simple search term, Android 17. Seriously, it's a brilliant case study in how language, technology, and pop culture can completely crash into one another. So let me ask you this directly. When you type those exact words into your search bar, what are you actually looking for? Are you a tech fan holding your phone, eagerly waiting to see when your specific device is going to get the latest operating system update? Or are you an anime fan trying to dig up the lore behind a fiercely independent cyborg who, by the way, works as a park ranger? It's this incredibly engaging dual intent that completely trips up search algorithms every single day. I mean, when we pulled the data, this number literally blew my mind. 224 million. That is the staggering number of Google search results for this one query. Our sources show this is just a monumental example of a pop culture and tech keyword collision. In fact, over 97% of the top ranking pages actually focus on the anime lore, not the software update. It's a true battle for search dominance. Okay, let's dive into this. To really untangle this whole shebang, we have to look at two radically different worlds. First, you've got Google's highly anticipated 2026 tech release, which is software designed to, run our daily lives. And second, we have Akira Toriyama's absolutely beloved anime creation, a fictional weapon turned hero. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the ultimate keyword collision, upgrading to OS 17, the cyborg sibling origins, the eternal energy reactor, the two diverging timelines, and finally, man, machine, and tech. Don't worry, whether you're here for the tech specs or the anime lore, we've got you covered before we merge them into a pretty amazing shared theme. All right, Section 1, upgrading to OS 17, reclaiming your time and privacy. Now, if you're a smartphone user, Android 17 is Google's latest massive push for digital well-being. This release isn't so much about those flashy, eye-catching design overhauls. It's fundamentally about usability, privacy, and your well-being. So who gets it and when? Well, Pixel users get first access right now. If you've got a Pixel 6 or newer, that update is waiting for you today. Samsung and other brands will follow later this summer once they integrate their custom layers. And looking a bit further down the road to later in 2026, that's when we'll see the highly anticipated Gemini AI features fully integrating into the system. The core upgrades here are just incredibly practical. For instance, there's a new screen reactions feature that automatically turns on your front-facing camera while you screen record. It's a real game changer for making seamless tutorials without needing a bunch of third-party apps. Plus, if you're on meta platforms like Instagram, you now get built-in Pro HDR, night sight, and video stabilization right inside the app natively. Add in audio isolation for crystal clear voices and some really granular privacy controls like sharing only approximate locations, and you can see it's all about reliability over flash. But honestly, the absolute standout feature for your digital well-being is something called Pause Point. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a gentle interruption designed specifically to stop that infinite, mindless scrolling we all fall into. When you try to launch certain addictive apps, the OS actually prompts you to pause and reflect for a second before diving in. It's built to help you take back your time and your attention. Keep that concept of stopping infinity in mind because it's going to be super relevant in just a second. Moving right along to Section 2, the cyborg sibling origins, lapis, lazuli, and lore. Shifting gears over to the anime universe, let's clear up a major misconception right off the bat. If we look deep into the lore, 17 and his twin sister 18 are not fully artificial robots. They were actually human teenagers named Lapis and Lazuli. They were kidnapped by the villainous Dr. Gero and physically augmented. Official art books actually classify them as bio-androids or cyborgs, not standard robots. Now, what's really interesting about this is that Dr. Gero explicitly chose to leave their brains and nervous systems intact. Why? To retain adaptive intelligence. This wasn't a glitch or a mistake. But here's the catch. By preserving their human consciousness, Gero inadvertently preserved their free will. It allowed them to form emotional attachments, and crucially, it left room for profound moral growth. They aren't just programmed machines. They are human beings with some seriously incredible hardware. Which brings us to Section 3, the eternal energy reactor, the secret to infinite stamina. So that human hardware is powered by something very specific. Dr. Gero implanted him with the eternal energy reactor. Think of it as a self-sustaining bioreactor that completely eliminates physical fatigue. But here is the absolutely crucial distinction. It grants infinite stamina, but not infinite raw power. His maximum power output definitely has a ceiling, which he can actually raise through training, but the guy literally never runs out of breath, he never depletes his internal energy, and he never gets physically tired. So remember what we just talked about with the smartphone update? Check out this brilliant semantic juxtaposition. Google's Android introduces Pause Point as a tool explicitly designed to stop infinite scrolling. Meanwhile, Toriyama's Android is famous specifically for his infinite energy. The tech is trying to save us from infinity, while the character relies on an infinite battery life to save the universe. It's perfectly opposite. And that endless stamina? That's exactly why Android 17 became the ultimate survivor in Dragon Ball Super. Because he never experiences fatigue, he was able to train to a level where he actually fought to a tie with Super Saiyan Blue Goku. I mean, wow. And during the massive Tournament of Power, while heavy hitters like Goku, Vegeta, and Jiren eventually collapsed from pure exhaustion, Android 17 just kept going. He outlasted 80 fighters, became the last man standing, and ultimately saved Universe 7. Up next is Section 4, Two Diverging Timelines, Nurture versus Nature. To really grasp this character, we have to look at his two radically different fates. In the main present timeline, the one we follow in Super, he's a hero. He becomes a park ranger, actively prevents poaching, and saves all of reality. But in the future timeline, Future Trunks world, he is a literal genocidal tyrant. In that reality, he and his sister ruled a ruined Earth for 20 years and slaughtered the Z-Fighters. It's the exact same biology and the exact same hardware. So why the massive difference? Well, it turns out the lore gives us three precise, canonical reasons for this disastrous shift. Step 1, in the future, Dr. Jiro dies before he can properly calibrate their behavioral inhibitors, leaving them totally unguided and hyper-aggressive. Step 2, they had zero positive social anchors. No Krillin, no Bulma to show them any kind of empathy. Step 3, the time travel butterfly effect. Trunks going to the past altered the lab conditions in the present timeline, which subtly changed how they were activated. It just goes to prove that 17's morality is all about his environment and his choices, not just his hardware. And that leads us right into Section 5, Man, Machine, and Tech, the Convergence. And this brilliantly illustrates our main theme for today's explainer. When you bring both these narratives together, it's pretty profound. On one hand, you have a cyborg, a machine-augmented human, who actively chooses to abandon his programming as a weapon, deciding instead to protect nature. On the other hand, you have an operating system, pure machine code, that is evolving to prioritize human well-being and user privacy over just feeding data to the cloud. The absolute crucial point here is that both of these androids are fundamentally stories about reclaiming agency. Whether it's the OS giving you tools like Pause Point to reject the external control of endless algorithms, or the cyborg rejecting the control of Dr. Giro to live life on his own terms, they're both incredibly compelling narratives about protecting your world and exercising your free will. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to chew on. As we integrate more AI and cybernetics into our daily lives, as the lines between biology and technology just keep blurring, are our phones and operating systems becoming more human to protect us? Or, by reliance so heavily on these infinite digital systems, are we actually the ones becoming more like machines? Think about that the next time you pick up your device, or the next time you watch Universe 7 fight for survival. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer.